totally missed the timing on that intro. F it. That's hard. I'm bad at it. That's just it. I just will never get that. Christian barely got the intro timing correct, and then he ditched us again. So I'm never expecting it to be better. What are we doing? Hi. Hello, GitOpsians. Good afternoon. We're back. Sorry, we're starting a couple minutes late. We were a little bit caught up in our chit chat. As you guys might have guessed, I like to talk, and sometimes I talk too much. So, no announcements particularly coming to mind right now. I know that the ArgoCon is going to be part of the KubeCon North America. I think CFPs for that are actually still open, but closing soon. Don't quote me. I don't remember. I'm bad at this. I'm not on the planning committee, so now I don't know. And so, but yeah, so if you haven't submitted CFPs, there's also a lot of other co-located events with the KubeCon North America that are still have CFPs open. Go get your CFPs in, do the things, see the people, talk about the stuff, and have a great time if you go. So without any like kind of further ado, I'm going to introduce today's guest. As you guys may have noticed, Jonny has joined me as co-host until he doesn't want to do it anymore. I just kind of forcibly dragged him into this mess that we call a live stream.
doing this. Yeah, this is perfectly fine. I'll be here until you kick me out.
Yeah, so Jonny's just here forever now. But our guest today is Robin Bobbitt, and Robin is she's the technical lead for the Ansible Lightspeed project, which is an Ansible generative AI project. And I'm not going to say any more. I'm going to let Robin finish her own introductions because she's awesome and exciting. And then she's going to tell us about something else, which is the project that is also awesome and exciting. So,
okay,
awesome. You're here for me.
Cool. Well, thanks so much for having me. Yeah, Robin Bobbitt, as you said, I'm the technical lead for Ansible Lightspeed. So I lead the engineering team that is actually productizing, building out this public service called Lightspeed. And we will dive right into what it's all about. I'm going to share a couple of slides just to kind of give a little bit of background about it, and then dig into a demo and spend most of the time probably in there just kind of walking through it and showing everybody how it works. So I'm going to attempt to share my screen. And hopefully that's the right one. Okay, awesome. And full disclaimer, none of these slides are mine. They are stolen from people who can make nice slides. So the big question that always comes up, Ansible Lightspeed, is that the same thing as Project Wisdom? Yes, it is. It's just the new name for Project Wisdom, the new freshly branded thing. Project Wisdom was introduced last October at Ansible Fest as a joint initiative between Red Hat and IBM to give Ansible AI superpowers, specifically initially at least around content generation, so Ansible content generation. I joined in December to take that prototype that was shown at Fest and actually productize it, make it real, make it a production-ready cloud service for external consumption. And then we announced it Summit just last month, the technical preview of it, and that actually came to light on Monday. So super exciting, just a few days ago. It is available now to anybody who wants to use it, and we will talk a little bit about how you can do that as we dig into the demo. So Lightspeed is a purpose-built generative AI tool. It's aiming to streamline and enhance the creation of Ansible content. It's not trying to be ChatGPT. It's not trying to do all the things. It's not going to write your kid a bedtime story. We're just super hyper-focused on the Ansible Automator, those use cases, the Ansible best practices, and meeting our users where they are, which is in VS Code, which we'll see in a minute. So we're combining the capabilities of our Ansible dev tools and the power of this AI service to hopefully build a really awesome, joyful user experience for our Ansible automators. So that's kind of, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, to be fair, if you started reading line by line an Ansible playbook to your child at bedtime, said child would.
That's very legit. And I just realized I am on Wi-Fi and hardwired. I'm going to take a chance and kill my Wi-Fi because for some reason you cut out. So I hope I don't leave, but if I do, I'll be back immediately. Am I still here?
I actually think you are, but I think the connection problem is actually on my end. I completely
okay.
lost internet earlier this morning. So if I
Okay.
disappear, Jonny
Okay.
can just finish the whole thing and I'll go get a glass of wine and be done for the day.
That's right.
Nice,
Yeah, we
as you
got this.
should. Awesome, very good. Okay, and yes, maybe some Ansible playbooks would put your child to sleep. But the beautiful thing about Ansible playbooks is they're human readable, right? So you could totally read your automation to your child. It's something to consider. So this slide is just about who is this solution for, and the short answer is it's for everybody. It's all of our Ansible automators. The novice automator, which full disclosure is me. I just started working on Ansible and kind of mostly just been Ansible adjacent, not like pure core Ansible stuff, just last year. So writing your first playbook, super helpful for you just to even get the right YAML structure out of the service. Help you find the right module, see the right parameters. Really, really helpful. And then for more experienced developers, we can help them find their existing content. We can help them maintain their current content. It's just all about writing that content faster, better, higher quality. And then you get into the module developers who actually are wanting to share their content out into the community. It's great for you too. We're helping other people find and use your content, and we're giving you recognition for that content too through our, we have a content matching capability that we're going to take a look at in the demo. So that's actually, I think, everything I wanted to say before we look at it. This is kind of, oh, is it going to come up? All right, this used to have a cute little animation that would show you the main capability. As a little bit of a spoiler, the main capability in the tech preview is task generation. The full-fledged commercial offering coming out later in the year will have some additional, but here it's just all about this task generation. And when we look at it, if you could see it, you can just use natural language to describe what you're trying to do, and Ansible Lightspeed is going to give you back a suggestion for your task.
So for those of us who are not the most familiar with Ansible, can you just kind of describe an Ansible task? Like what would that look like?
The task is just something that you want to do, something that you're automating, be it printing out hello world to provisioning an EC2 instance, which is part of what we'll look at in this demo. It could be anything like that. It could be cloud infrastructure, deploying an app, manipulating a Git repo, whatever you want to do. It's that single task, and the tasks run one by one. They're laid out in a playbook, and they execute one by one against a host or a number of hosts. They can be orchestrated any number of ways. Yeah. Makes sense?
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, the one thing
awesome.
I like about this, oh, I'm sorry, my bad.
Yeah. Have at it.
Yeah, the one thing I like about this is, like, if you're new to Ansible, you can be like, hey, I want to do this thing, like go and set this up, right? And I think a lot of us, when we first start, our initial playbook is a bunch of L and command modules. Right? So it's like, all right, well, I know how to do this on the CLI, so let me just go ahead and add this as a shell module, and then go and do this. So it sounds like this is gonna fix that and actually like apply the appropriate module for that, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that you're not doing stuff that way. Exactly. You find the legit module for it, and you don't have to do what you just described. Exactly. So
we're gonna need to make this big. Control plus, command plus, whatever plus.
Okay. This is still little. Okay, let's see. Yeah. Whoa.
There we go. Right. Maybe one more.
One more? I don't know that I'll be able to see it anymore. Whoa.
Yeah, I'm looking at it on Twitch. It looks like it's okay.
It's okay?
One looks like it's okay.
Okay, awesome. And as I mentioned, this is fully available, free to use, open service as of Monday. All you need is a GitHub login. So if you want to try it, and you need VS Code or VS Codium. So if you want to try it as we're going, by all means, get ready and give it a try, or you can watch replay later and walk through it and try it as well. We'd love to have more people come in to check out the service. So so I'm in VS Code. You need to have the Ansible extension, which is something that predated Lightspeed. So Ansible automators will presumably already have it. So you just grab that out of the marketplace. And then in your settings, you'd want to filter down to the Lightspeed settings, get it enabled. There's enable Lightspeed. Right now, there's also one to turn on the suggestions, because in the future, presumably there'll be additional capabilities in there. And then the URL, I think it's going to be there automatically. If it's not, you'd have to type it in. Can I put it somewhere useful? Can y'all put it somewhere useful? I've put it in the private chat.
So if you put it in the private chat, yes, I can copy it. Perfect.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, so it's probably pre-populated, but I haven't freshly installed in some time. I'm not sure. So, and with that, you're kind of ready to rock and ready to go log in. So I'm going to go into, oh, now everything's different because I'm massive. I'm in the sidebar and I'm grabbing the Ansible panel. And I can see a little welcome and go ahead and connect. And of course, it's opening on another screen. Let's bring that over. All right, and this brings me into our very minimal web UI. Really, the web UI only exists to log in and accept the terms. And you'll see down here also, I want to call out, we have a chat link. There's actually a matrix room available. If you want to participate in this, come ask questions, come give your feedback. It's a great spot to do it. Just wanted to mention that. So I'm going to go ahead and log in with GitHub. And I know from some of our initial users, there was concern that we were using a GitHub login and reading your repos and everything else. We're not. All we're doing is getting your very basic username, unique ID, so that we can identify you as a real person. So we just authorize that. And there's terms of service both from Red Hat and IBM. Agree. And that should send us back in. And it'll say, welcome back, Robin Bobbitt. So now I know I am logged in and ready to rock. So at this point, all you need to get engaged, and I'm gonna try to get a little more real estate for my playbook. All you need at this point is a YAML file. So I've got a YAML file that I already set up just to make the demo a little smoother. You wanna make sure that you have the language mode set to Ansible. And then also this little Lightspeed indicator will let you know you've got it configured and you're ready to rock. And then I've got this pre-populated with the preamble, right, of the playbook. So the name, the host's information. I put in some module defaults and variables as well. All right, so I think with that we are good to go. So this is where I'm going to start creating my tasks. And this is where we say it's a natural language task, but you will see in here I've done a little bit of prompt engineering to try to get it to do what I want to do, and we'll see how it goes. So in this playbook, we're standing up an EC2 instance. So all we're doing is creating a VPC, creating a subnet in that VPC, and then creating an EC2 instance in that subnet. So I've typed in, I'm brand new automator. I want to create a VPC and I want to name it GitOps Galaxy. So I hit enter and you can see at the bottom right that Lightspeed started giving me a suggestion. And now it's popped up my suggestion. I can tab to accept it or escape to reject it. And it looks good to me. So I have accepted it. So you can see that it was smart enough to find the right module, which already is huge. It's using the fully qualified collection name, which is also a really important Ansible best practice. It's used the name that I asked it to use. It's picked a random CIDR block, which is fine. It's stuck some tags in that don't mean anything to me. So this is somewhere that we're probably going to want to do better with in the service. I'm going to go ahead and take them out of there. And then it's registered a variable, which I'm going to go ahead and rename to something that's a little more, meaningful to me. So with that, we've gotten our first suggestion. Yep, I'll pause. Yeah.
Sorry about that, Robin. Yeah. So no just does it actually import the AWS module, or is that all like built in? So like when you say create a VPC, does it actually like do like the import the collection import, not the module? I'm sorry, the collection import.
The best answer I can give you is like that. There's no new capability that's doing that. I am not familiar enough with the dev tools to know if there's some trickery that's doing that. To my knowledge, no. But I don't work on the dev tools, so I'm not sure. But I don't think so. I think you'd have to pull that down.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Good question. So and then next up, now I'm going to create a subnet. Again, I'm giving it a name, Galaxy Subnet, and I'm going to see if it can be clever enough to use the VPC that I just created. And it is not. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. I have found that as you're going down, adding more and more tasks, it can start to pick up patterns. So if I were like 5 tasks down and naming my stuff all the same way, it might start using the variable that I use, but it's not. It's room for growth. So I need to adjust this a little bit. And then you can see it's given it a CIDR, and it's definitely not doing any kind of CIDR math for us. So that's just a random value that would need to be validated. And then just to kind of give an idea of like how we expect this to be used with in conjunction with the dev tools, like I don't know what map public is, I can just hover over it and look, right? So it's giving me that documentation. That, again, that's not a Lightspeed thing, that's the Ansible extension working its magic. So we really see the two kind of complement each other and combining in a really great way. And so with that, looks good enough. And it even registered it with the name that I wanted. I think it's picking it up from up here and knowing that I wanted to call that guy Galaxy Subnet. And then the last thing we're going to do, we want to create a T2 small. We're going to name it Galaxy. We want to put it in that subnet we just created. And then a little bit more prompt engineering so that I don't have to type the image ID. I'm actually calling out, I want to use that EC2 var that I'd set up here. So let's see if it gets it correctly.
And the expectation is that over time, you know, as you use this more and more, it's going to learn your patterns, right? So like it's going to learn your language and the way that you're explaining, the way that you're requesting these, right?
So it's not going to like get to know me as a person and give me different outputs. There's none of that, but it's going to learn from first off the full context of the file, and then later what we're not doing now, like we're not taking any context from outside the file, but that's coming soon, like to actually know about the variables that are somewhere else or all the other artifacts that are part of the role. It will know that. And generally speaking, the model is going to improve over time. So anytime I'm using it, you know, whatever I'm doing with it is feeding back into, you know, that data is flowing back to the service. IBM is processing it and feeding it into the model and continuing to refine it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I didn't mean, make it sound like it was going to be like, this is Robin typing this today.
Robin's,
exactly. You answered it perfectly. Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so and here we can see it did pick up the image ID field that I had in my EC2 variable up above, which is great. It was not smart enough to pick up my subnet ID variable. It just used a placeholder. But again, these are all places that we're continuing to improve on all the time. So yeah, that's pretty much everything I wanted to show from a like task generation perspective. There are some other things. Oh, one thing I'll call out too. It is smart enough to know that I was using module defaults, so you're not going to see it including the parameters that were included in the defaults. So that's good. The additional variable awareness that I mentioned, that's actually coming really soon. So anywhere that there's right now, if the model's returning a variable that we don't know, that we think is undefined, we kind of toss it out and put in a placeholder like this one. And we only know the ones that are in this file at the moment. So now coming soon, we'll know all the other variables in the surrounding files, and those can be pulled from so that we're not like mistakenly clearing out what would have been a good variable to you. And then we're also looking at actually for the variables that we know we've created a placeholder for, we're actually improving the extension so that it will recognize those as placeholder variables and drop you in and let you pick from a list of existing variables to kind of help you really dial in quickly on like here's what I need to fix to make this thing actually legit work. And then the next thing I wanted to show, unless I guess I'll pause there. Are there other questions, comments? Okay. The other thing
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I've been following along in my VS Code, and of course I'd never done it before, so I had to kind of go enable things new. And I have a problem, which is command failed, Ansible config dump /bin/sh line 1. So it blew up. To be fair, I think my VS Code might be out of date, so I'm going to attempt an update first. But we might end up live debugging this.
Okay, awesome. And I may need to phone a friend to try to figure it out. And worst case, we'll head off into Matrix and ask for some help. But I'm super excited that you're trying it, and I hope other folks are too. So the other thing, one of the big differentiators with Lightspeed, something we've been really wanting to do well and really care about right from the beginning, is about giving credit to the contributors, the people that actually created the content that went into this model. And that's what this training matches is about. So what's actually happening here, I'm just gonna pick this guy and pull it again. Whenever we get a recommendation from Lightspeed, as soon as you tab to accept it, we're actually making a call back to the service to try to figure out what's the closest match from our training data. Like, what are kind of our best guesses at what is the most similar thing from the training data that might have inspired this answer. You know, with this type of AI, there's no way to know actually like where it came from. It's, you know, bits and pieces from everywhere. But these are the most similar hits, and then you can expand them and you can actually link out to Galaxy and take a look at them. You can see what the license is. So it's awesome in two ways. You know, it's a great nod to the people that develop the content, and it's also nice for the developer if you kind of want to go see, oh, let me go see what else they're up to in there. Let me see if I trust what they're doing, and let me see if there's something else in there that maybe I could borrow from or learn from. So it's a really, really cool. I think it's a differentiator for us. It's a really nice capability all around. So really important for our trust and transparency. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm rude as hell, and I'm sorry.
No, you're
so
good.
Like, when you have these developers, right? Like when that telemetry is going back, able to go back and actually see like themselves and how many times like that that module that they wrote or that training model that they have created has been used. Like, are they able to pull like that kind of metric? This is just me being curious. Like, it sounds like that'd be an awesome thing. Like, where you could actually go back and like, hey, look, there's 80% of the calls are using my model or whatever, you know. So
yeah, not today, but that would be brilliant. And I do think I've heard something in that space around like badges and whatnot on Galaxy to kind of give extra credit to the people that are sharing their content and to give a nod to that most popular stuff. So it's a great suggestion and great feedback. We'll definitely take it to our product manager. But yeah, that would be very, very cool.
Yeah, this is awesome.
And also, oh, awesome. We think so too. You can opt out if you don't want your content included. So we are pulling this content. The model is, no, it's trained on lots of things, but the main thing it's like fine-tuned on is the Galaxy data. And if you want to opt out of that, you can opt out of that. There's a link in our documentation that tells you, you know, if you don't want to share your stuff, go opt out. And then the next time we retrain the model, you know, it'll be within like a few weeks, your stuff will get dropped out of that next round of the training, which I think is really important too. So, and related to kind of some of the telemetry we were talking about. So there's the feedback that's happening as you're using it. So as I'm hitting tab to accept it or escape to reject it, you know, that's all flowing back and helping us continue to improve the model. But we also do have an option for some very explicit feedback that's tucked in here as well. So by all means, if you come check it out, give us a proper emoji. Please give us some reason for your emoji so we can take action on it. And then we've also got the ability to file a bug report or a feature request. Or if there's a suggestion you got that is just really bad and you want to be very sure we know about it, you can tell us here's the prompt I put in, here's the recommendation I got, and here's what I expected. So, rather than waiting for it to kind of get picked up by IBM with all of the work they're doing to kind of deal with the feedback at scale, this is something that we would actually lay eyes on directly and figure out what we want to do about it. And then we also have a Jira project that this stuff will feed into very soon, though it doesn't currently. So yeah, so that's pretty much, I think, everything I wanted to cover in the demo. Did you get your stuff working, Hilary? Do I dare ask?
We'll find out. I did find a GitHub issue with somebody with the same problem. So it looks like a pathing issue. There are some things that are installed globally and some things that are installed to the user. And that's because I almost never actually use my computer for software development, because that's not my job anymore. And so that is probably just like I need to do some repathing and some potential uninstalled reinstall. So I was just doing I just reinstalled Ansible, which to be fair was also out of date because when would I have used it, right? So I just reinstalled it. Unfortunately, it's still like it installed it successfully, but it's still not being picked up by the VS Code thing. So I need to look into like the which Ansible config and see. I'm going to follow the steps on the thing on this issue further and see if that resolves. Which it probably would bore the audience to tears. I'm going to be honest with you. So it'll take. Right. Also, I don't want you all to be able to. I don't want you all to be able to see that much of my like bin and path and stuff like that. Like from just a general security standpoint, it's a no-go from me. I think that you don't need that information to live, but we'll see if I figure it out. But that issue looks like it's the same issue. So it's something that has been seen before and can probably be fixed with some pathing. Awesome. I did, in fact, get a slightly better error output after updating my VS Code, which means that the improved output that they promised in this GitHub issue from 2021 does in fact exist. So
awesome.
Thank you, Ansible team, for doing that. This proves that GitHub issues work to improve tools. I'm going to circle back to, I think Dwayne is how you say that name.
Dwayne.
Which was the question is this, so the question Dwayne asked is this in Red Hat Labs? And so I think the answer to that is no, but Robin, I'll let you actually answer that.
So I think that it was, we had a lab at Summit. But I don't know if it's still there or not. And I don't even know, I just had the URL and I don't even know if that was what is called Red Hat Labs. Sorry, I'm 2 years into Red Hat. That was my first lab experience a month ago. I assume it was Red Hat Labs. So the answer is maybe. Maybe you can tell me if you see it there. I do know that we took down the lab environment that we were using at Summit, but maybe the awesome gentleman who was maintaining the lab, maybe he's changed it to use the production instance. I don't know. So it's a big, long-winded, I don't know. But I can find out.
We can find out and tweet it.
Yeah. And not to put you on the spot, because I don't, it's I'm just kind of curious. Like, have you guys tried this with dev workspaces as well, like instead of OpenShift?
Tell me more. I'm saying no because.
Yeah. So dev workspaces is essentially like I think it's Che. I think is what it is, and then but essentially it's like it's a IDE built into OpenShift.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And then you can actually have like VS Code as one of the IDEs that are in there, or you can have like some of the other ones, like the really popular ones. I'm drawing a blank right now, but it seems like it would work. I just don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just curious if you guys have it.
if it's VS Code at the end of the day, I think that it will. We support, like we said, VS Code and VS Codium. The other stuff you'll find, like the redirect URLs aren't supported. But so in theory, I think yes. I have seen some comments in Matrix about people having issues with kind of less standard setups like that. So if you do try it and it doesn't work, there's a ton of conversation in Matrix around, running some things remotely, or I have a proxy that's blocking this, that. There's a lot of that sort of chatter that may come into play if you are trying to run it that way.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So what do you
Robin,
say? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
This was just a little housekeeping question. Do you want us to keep displaying your screen share, or do you want us to remove it?
Oh, yeah. Yep. All done. Thank you. I was trying to just find the link to the labs to see if I could find the Lightspeed one. I don't know if I know where that is.
I can see if I can hunt it down real quick while Jonny asks his question.
Yeah, I'm just gonna ask a bunch of random questions, but so I noticed you have like the GitHub authentication stuff set up. Like, is that going to expand beyond GitHub, where it'll be like any OIDC type of thing, or is it GitHub now for just kicking the tires and getting it out the door and having something for people to use? Or I assume so, but I'll ask.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So it's we picked GitHub because that's what we also use on Galaxy, and it lets us. It's an easy way in, so it made sense for the community. It's going to stay with GitHub, but we're also adding Red Hat SSO.
Okay.
So the Red Hat SSO will be how you sign in as a commercial user later in the year, but you also, but pretty soon we're going to have it there with the community flavor as well. So you log in, if you log in with your Red Hat SSO, but you don't have like a license to the commercial Ansible, you'd have the community experience. So
Okay.
It's just those two for now is what's planned.
Gotcha. And then, all right, so now, sorry. So are you planning on putting Lightspeed inside of like console.redhat.com to where like, you go to console.redhat.com and you can pretty much do everything now? Like, is it going to be the same idea?
Right. Good question. So I'm not product manager and I can't officially speak to roadmap, but there's nothing like
my bad.
there's nothing this year that is like a full like web experience. I don't think. I believe this year, it's still all about the VS Code experience primarily. We may at some point have some pieces that go into console dot or into that like AAP piece of console dot. There may be pieces that appear there this year. There may be bigger pieces that appear there later, but nothing I could speak to at the moment.
Okay, yeah, my bad. I didn't mean to put you on the spot. That's.
Oh no, it's all good.
Yeah, I mean, Jonny pointed out exactly. Console dot has like all the things anymore.
Yeah.
It's like the in to the Red Hat stuffs.
Right.
So
yeah,
I think
and
there's a question.
Oh, it totally is. And like I think there'll be pieces like, when you are, well, actually I probably can't talk. There will probably be pieces that show up there, but we'll leave it at that. Like the main functionality I think will still primarily be end users working in their editor.
So Hilary, like kind of continuing on from last week, right? I think that this is probably like a good candidate for like either a plugin or like some type of service catalog or software catalog within Backstage. So like the Red Hat developer portal thing.
Yep.
Red Hat developer hub. There it is.
That's it.
Backstage, CNS IDP, all those things. Like this, it sounds like this would be part of that. It kind of makes sense to be in that, right? Like,
it would. I also see these things coming together. Although we're very likely to find out more about that. I didn't tell you about this, Jonny, because I'm the worst. 2 weeks ago, a few hours after our stream ended, I got a message from somebody, and she says, "Hey, Hilary, I'm the product manager for and like program manager." Ooh, that's the worst. Forget like mixing those two up is like a cardinal sin, and I'm sorry, but I can't remember which one it was. The point is she's managing the community on Red Hat's behalf for Backstage. And so that was her message to me. And my response back was, "Oh no, I'm sorry." Without, really talking to anybody on that side of the house, we kind of like went to go like learn about it, show some stuff, and it turned out like some stuff was down and we didn't know was going to be down, and like, so they would like to come on in a few weeks as a follow-up, and actually like show those things working and talk more about the community and everything like that. So we can put her on the spot at that time, and just really bring everything full 100% circle. But it's always a good sign when somebody's like, "Hey, I'm the person for the thing you talked about today," without, still like, my response. Yeah. That's why my response was just like, "Oh no, I'm sorry." It turns out somebody from her team is one of our viewers and like told on us. I mean, made the connection for us.
Nice. Nice. Hopefully they weren't upset.
No, they were not upset. I think they were just happy that we talked about it. And so we'll get to talk about it with inside information in, I don't know. I actually have to work with you on figuring out when we're scheduling that for. We're not going to air the second half of July because I'm going to be on vacation for the second half of July. So it'll be August-ish, I think, when we do that. But yeah, so yes, it does tie in. We get to potentially find out even more. And this also ties back to several episodes ago when the IBM team for Z Systems, I know, Jonny, you were not co-hosting with me then, that was Christian, but you would potentially remember this. The IBM Z Systems team came on and talked about how they're using Ansible to build for mainframes and how they're using, at that time it was considered Project Wisdom, how they're using Ansible Lightspeed to do that. So I would be willing to bet, for the curious, if you start going through and playing with this, that you might come across some things that the model has learned from that group. And all of their stuff was open source, so you can probably cheat and figure it out by looking at their repos. So go back to that episode. It was episode 50 something, I think, maybe 52-ish. Go back to that episode and find the discussion on that, and then there were links in the chat from us there to their public repositories. So, and then let me know. Report back. Tell me if you found data from the AI model that has been trained by those people, because I would be willing to bet there is. And if there's not, awesome. It will be soon. It's going to be there somewhere because they're using it.
Yeah, and if there's not, it may be. I know at one point they were training their own model. And that's one of the things that we'll see coming. One of the little bits I can talk about with the commercialization later in the year is the custom models, right? The commercial models that'll be built on like certified content, presumably, and then that enterprise organizations can build their own model as well. So I'm actually not sure what of the Z stuff is in the community model. So y'all find out and report back and let us
know. So somebody who is more curious than I, tell me the results of the investigation, because as much as I am curious, I am also infinitely lazy, and I will never do for myself what I can get somebody else to do for me.
And your setup's broken. You're off the hook.
My setup's broken, so what can I possibly do?
It's not me. It's not me.
Such a shame. It doesn't work on my machine. I don't know how paths work. I've never used Linux. Would ignore this entirely. Anyway, yeah, but I hope somebody reports back, because that would be very interesting information. Okay, folks, you guys have been like really unusually quiet. Like, I had Robin all like, okay, you got to be prepared. Our audience is really chatty. They're probably going to be super interrupting. Like, and then here you all are, and there are quite a few of you on the stream. I can see this, and you're just like dead silent. What is up? So we still have about 15 minutes technically left in the stream. We can absolutely end early if we feel like it, if nothing else comes to mind. I'm sure Robin is a busy person who appreciates the time back. I'm a tired person who appreciates the time back, so I'm not going to be mad about it either. But like, this is a very unique opportunity where we actually have the tech lead for the project and here to talk about things. So like, don't miss this boat, because I'm not saving you if you do.
Can I just ask like I'm really curious, actually. Like, this is exciting to me. Like, when we saw this, I can't remember when this demo first came out. It was a while ago, but like, I was like, holy crap, this is gonna be so awesome. All right. So what's the coolest thing that you've done with it so far? Right. I mean, outside of the demo, right? The VPC stuff is really awesome, especially if you've ever dealt with it, and you've ever dealt with like provisioning Azure resources and stuff like that. You know, it is not. I mean, it's easy once you get it going, but it's like getting going and kind of crossing that bridge. It's a little daunting. So I'm just curious, like, what's the coolest thing that you've done with it so far?
Yeah, me personally, this is probably a really unsatisfying answer, but preparing for Summit. So for the most part, when I'm like building and testing our service, I'm doing very hello worldy stuff in my playbooks, right? And as I said before, I'm a novice automator, but I wanted to have like a full story to tell at Summit. So I did this really overly ambitious, like 10-minute demo where I like set up the whole setup, a lot of what I was showing here, but like went way past it, where I was actually like installing WordPress into the EC2 instance and setting up all of the access and like the security group and the ports and everything. And as I was building that demo, I was using Lightspeed to figure out, you know, actually find the modules and do it correctly. So it's like, I know the steps I need to take manually. Let's see if Lightspeed will give them to me. And it was amazing, like how well, like it would point me in the right direction. And then I took it to one of the engineers on our team and I was like, can you look at this? Because I'm not an Ansible expert. I don't want to embarrass myself.
Yeah.
Can you look at it and tell me what's wrong with it? And he was like, this is actually really great. And he just had some really minor stuff to share with me. So to be able to do that as somebody who had like really never written a playbook before was a really awesome experience.
That is awesome.
Is that recording up somewhere? I know there's the, like, you can get the Ansible, or not the Ansible, the Red Hat Summit and Ansible Fest sessions, like recordings on demand, through this little portal thing. Is it somewhere?
Yeah,
more openly accessible?
They actually didn't record our session, unfortunately. It was one of the like side interactive. I wasn't on the main stage.
Rude.
There were some much smaller, right? Should have been up there. But there were some, like the keynote, they did something, and then the Ansible keynote, they did a live demo too, and that stuff was recorded, but ours actually was not. So, and then I was even so brave as to run it, and it failed, but it was super cool because I don't know about y'all, but when I'm like sharing a screen or demoing, my brain shuts down a little bit and like troubleshooting becomes a little shaky. But somebody in the audience immediately was like, hey, this line, that variable's wrong, fixed it, and it ran. It was like the most awesome community effort to get my demo going live. So it was very cool.
My ability to read, comprehend, and troubleshoot language under pressure like that is like also my ability to type. All of those things wash away. It's in situations like that, it's like I'll be like, I can't read and comprehend language, and like I have dyslexia, so like I struggle with that on a day-to-day basis anyway. Add stress, and I'm like, no, I can't read or comprehend anything right now. It's why I don't use speaker's notes for speaking at conferences, and I just like give them live and like just do what I'm gonna do, because I won't be able to read and comprehend my own speaker's notes anyhow. I can't do it under pressure. So my headphones just died. Darn. So yeah. No, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. I love a helpful audience like that, though. That's the best. There is a question in the chat.
Sure.
I'm going to segue straight to it, which I know you answered it earlier, but I don't think this viewer was here for that, which was, is there any data collection on the content with regards to company or user details and Ansible content?
Data collection on the content. Are you talking about like what the model is trained on, or like the data we're collecting about the telemetry that we're getting back? I'm not sure what details they're asking about.
I'm going to assume the second one. So when you showed we want your feedback situation, right?
Yeah.
And I know you had mentioned like it's not going to know, like you said, it calls back on the tabs if to say to accept, or on the accept to say the reject. I'm assuming that kind of data is what we're referencing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So no, it's all anonymized. Everything that we send back to the service, it's just tied to an anonymous user ID, and then especially whatever goes to IBM to retrain the model, it's all completely anonymized. We also try really hard to strip out all the PII that could be flowing. We're stripping it on both ends. We're stripping it, as your stuff's getting sent to the service, we strip it immediately. We don't want it. And then we also are stripping PII with whatever comes out of the model. There shouldn't be PII in there, but if there is, we're catching it there as well, so it doesn't end up coming back to you. So
yeah, I thought that was the context there. It sounds like I guessed correctly. Go me. I can read our viewers' minds. That's that's a better skill than armchair coding, I think.
Sometimes.
I don't know. Sometimes my mind is just soup. Sometimes, honestly, like I pity anybody who can read my mind because you're just getting soup.
Yeah, mine's like a maze. Like if you get in there, like you're just like, what's happening to me right now? Like I don't even know.
I know. I don't know what's going on in here half the time, and then somebody will ask me something, and then like stuff comes out, and I'm like, oh wow, who said that? She's smart. I don't recognize it, but like that person was really like, she knew what was up in that minute. I wish I could be her. I'm never her. And people just think I'm her.
It's like Will Ferrell in Old School. He's like, what happened? I blacked out when he had like the best response.
I've never seen that. I don't actually watch Will Ferrell movies. This is a personal preference of I don't like slapstick comedy of that kind that much. With there's some notable exceptions to Will Ferrell movies I've watched, which is somebody forced me to watch Elf and I hated it. You're welcome. I'm not Scrooge. But this movie, Stranger Than Fiction, is one of my favorite movies. And that is also a Will Ferrell movie. He plays a IRS auditor whose life is being narrated, and he starts hearing this narrator, and he eventually figures out that the narrator is a famous author who is actively writing a book, and he is the main character, and she always kills her main characters. So I just absolutely spoiled that movie for you. You're welcome.
Yes, spoiler.
The movie is from it's so old. The movie's like 20 years old. Like if you haven't seen this movie, I don't know what to tell you. It's a great movie.
I haven't seen it. I'll watch it. You can't spoil the movie. Not for me.
No, there's still a lot more to the movie about that. That was like the highest level premise of the movie. Anyway, it is absolutely excellent. Will Ferrell does not play a very Will Ferrell-esque role while also still being a very good comedic actor.
Mm-hmm.
And that is for me, that is the type of comedy that I really enjoy. It's also a little bit meta. Things like I don't even remember if he was in Dodgeball or Anchorman, but those are the types of movies that I know that he's known for. Yeah. I don't like them. And no shit on anybody who does. Please enjoy all the things you enjoy. Nobody is harmed by you liking those movies. Lots of people are in fact made very rich by you liking those movies. It's just not for me. So I'll miss a lot of those pop culture references, and that's okay. You can explain them.
Okay, good.
Pop culture references and I we're just not friends.
I'm terrible at pop culture as well. My husband is always woefully disappointed.
Mine too. Mine has
such a waste.
I know. He's got this perfect eidetic memory that can reach back for forever. And it'll even be on things like that he expects me to know, or even media I've introduced him to. And he'll make some sort of reference or joke or call back to it. And then I'll be like, huh?
Yeah.
And he's like, what? But you're the one who taught me that. I'm like, my brain does not make those connections. I do not immediately map everything in day-to-day life to some form of media.
Yeah.
You know what? I just realized there's a deep irony there. Our youngest son is on the spectrum, and our youngest son relates everything in day-to-day life to some form of media, and it makes my husband crazy.
There it is.
They say the things that annoy you most about your children are the things that are most like yourself, and I'm just going to leave that there.
Interesting.
I'm so mean to my family on this stream sometimes.
Does your family watch?
Yes, I don't know if they're watching it today. I found out that my 12-year-old son, because it's summer break right now, he watched the last one. I was like, oh, what did you think? He's like, I didn't understand anything, but you did great, Mommy.
Nice.
Aww.
Good kid.
My 7-year-old told me this morning, yeah, he wants to watch. So he's like, I'm going to watch you on YouTube when I get home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
they get excited about the fact that we do the YouTube thing, even though they don't understand what the heck we're talking about. And I'm just like was so excited that my kid was in my viewer account being supportive. And yeah, all of our views, right? Like we kind of do track it and pay attention to it, and as our viewers continue, like our viewership continues to be good, we get to continue to do this fun thing, which is this live stream. So like have your kids watch it, have them watch it a lot from different computers on different IP addresses.
Like it. Like and subscribe.
Oh yeah, that's a thing. Like and subscribe. I'm supposed to remind people to do that. Remember, Jonny, when Stephanie would always remember to tell us?
The worst about that. I don't think I've done that since Stephanie left, to be honest. Like,
I don't think so either. I don't even remember. It's not even in my captions anymore. We used to be able to just push that up. Anyway, yeah, like and subscribe, guys and girls and undecided, undeclared people who are both one time and the other, like any of it. Anyway, we're trying to remember to always use gender inclusive language here, and sometimes the vernacular beats me, but it's okay. We're doing our best and learning from it. Right. I don't know. We're at like the last 5 minutes of this. I think we're done. We did great.
This is awesome. My face hurts from smiling. Thanks for having me.
That's awesome. Good.
That means we won. The successful stream was successful. Okay, so thanks, friends, for joining. Robin, thank you so much for being here and telling us cool things about Ansible Lightspeed. We've all been kind of keeping an eye on it, like paying some level of attention to it, but like this was a really great for me, like actual real insight. I'll eventually figure out why VS Code doesn't like Ansible and report back. And then I will also maybe eventually investigate if the IBM stuff is into the public model or not. Z Systems thinks maybe not. We'll find out. In 2 weeks, Jonny and I will be joined by a few of our friends here at Red Hat for working on an open source project called Polaris, which is a tool for gathering and reporting on DORA metrics, which are DevOps capability metrics. This came originally out of the Conveyor project, but now that that's been donated to the CNCF, is standing alone. It's pretty neat. So I'm excited to talk to you all about that. And like I always say, choose your technical debt wisely, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.